welcome to Sábado Gigante. I wish it'd be fun to host Sábado Gigante. I'm gonna bring it back just for the good times. See.
I was gonna turn it.
You are an enemy of progress.
I was gonna turn it down, but somebody was like, "Did you put a title?" Yeah. Whatever.
An EP, enemy of progress.
That's what you say.
She's an enemy of progress. Hi, my people. Hi, my friends. Hi, my associates. Hi, my followers. Hi, my fans. Welcome to another wonderful episode.
Yeah.
Of the show that never appears on our Facebook timelines. So we spend the first 2 minutes looking for it on our Facebooks, trying to search for it. Making us look like we don't know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. Facebook just don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I see it. It's just nobody's on there yet right now.
That's right. They will be. They'll come.
Well, anyway.
Michael's here. Mike. I hate
Michael.
Sometimes when you read somebody's, it's like a Facebook name. Like you read somebody's name and you assume that's like, you're like, oh yes, it's Michael, and then you're like, that's not. I don't call you that. Like, when have I ever called Michael? But anywho, we're here. We're live.
Sounds like scolding or something. Anyway, it's been a week. It's been a month. It's only just started, but it's already been a month somehow. Like it's already been a substantial, significant
like a lot
situation.
Has happened in 5 days.
Yeah,
that you don't like.
We didn't like Herman Cain died like the day after we did the show last week, and that feels like years ago.
But it's
and that feels like years ago at this point somehow. But anyway,
facts. It feels like I've lived 10 lives since then.
Since Mike's here,
and 4 others.
Herman Cain though, like my thing is like I feel like it's messed up because I feel like more like people who like totally disagreed with Herman Cain, like we were more sympathetic about his death than his own like people were. Like than his staff was the night that it happened was acting like everything was going to be fine. Like the man was literally on a respirator dying, and they were on Twitter like, just pray for him, your prayers are working. Clearly they're not. And I just feel like it's a similar thing with how I feel about Joe Biden sometimes. It just feels really abusive. Like niggas be mad, old, and confused, and their people just be letting them walk around like that. Like,
didn't he have like cancer before or something? Why do you allow this old man to go outside?
Like, bro, like,
you gotta be like, in Tulsa, it's like there's a breeze today. You probably shouldn't go outside.
It sucks because nobody has he has a family and all that stuff, and well, I'm like, bro, like you should have had your old ass man and your family stay home from a damn it's a pandemic. Who cares if he don't believe in it? Like he, R.I.P. to man though, like.
RIP to him, and the fact that his last days are basically denying the disease
he was dying. He was literally succumbing as he was denying it. All right, RIP to a death of your own making. And to be honest,
it would have to be a black conservative. It would of course have to be a black conservative of the tons and thousands of those crazy mofos that have shown up to Trump's rallies and Trump's things. It would have to, of course, be the black.
Like other people are getting it, but they're like surviving.
They're like living, which like points to the inequalities and disparities between white and black people in this country, where they can live from a disease and we can't.
Yo, like that congressman, that one who was getting everybody sick, and he had his staff come back to full capacity. Was it?
Dang, what was that man?
There's too many
There were
senators.
Too many of them that
I don't like them, and they're all stupid. All those Republican senators, they all look the same to me, and they're all dumb.
Oh, Mike said, what's with the insert name here? If you're inquiring about our lovely overlay, We're trying new things.
It's a work in progress. You know, every week we try to make it more technologically advanced. Right now we're at 60 frames a second if your internet's good. So, you know,
could be speeding. But I don't know. I guess a lot of people wouldn't know about Insert Name Here. If you don't know, if you're asking about the name just came from like we didn't know what the hell to name the show we did last year, Santiago, and Insert Name Here kind of just appeared because whenever we were going to come up with the name, we were coming.
Hold on. Hold on.
Yes, telling the live people to hold.
Oh God.
It's you. It wasn't you.
I thought it was mommy.
Me too.
Hi.
I'm driving your car.
Yeah.
My mother said so.
Okay. Oh, I thought, boy, that's just my brother. I thought that was my mom. I want to answer the door for him.
He should be watching.
Anyway,
but yeah, that's our name just came out of randomness. But
yeah.
Let's
But
get
on to
you didn't do our intro.
Well, if you don't know where you are, I'm about to tell you. Welcome to Insert Name Here, a show brought to you in full Technicolor and living sound with the dulcet tones of Alejandra the Great.
That's me.
And the what did I try? And me, the raspy voice alto, Malachi Unique. I'm like, what do I say? There's usually like a third person, so I introduce them first before I introduce me. But there's no third person. I don't know. It's been rough, you know. It's been rough because we have the same like ideas a lot. So anyway, but on to more serious topics. Today was the 1 year anniversary of Toni Morrison's passing, which is sad.
R.I.P. to the writing god.
R.I.P. the homie, you know, got the book right here.
Like 5 million.
I had so many. I could probably find The Bluest Eye over here somewhere too, and Jazz and but
if you haven't read her books,
I've not read a Toni Morrison book that I disliked. So
facts. They make you not uncomfortable I guess uncomfortable is a fine word, but like a good uncomfortable where it's like you're reading something so descriptive and so like real that you like love it. So
I think The Bluest Eye is like my least favorite, but that's only because it's one of the most popular. So
yeah,
and, like they read it in school. So
what's it called? Beloved. That one is.
Beloved is
go wild.
Beloved, your brain, man. You got your brain. Whew. Anyway, but you know, I feel like we're readers, so we are always recommending books and stuff. But Toni Morrison's lit. And then like this was like
the most random
like
thing
sudden
ever.
like shocking. There were huge explosions in Beirut, Lebanon. They don't know, like they're not sure what happened fully.
The Lebanese released a statement saying it was some like
they had like
nitrate.
Yeah, unsecured nitrate. You know, our stupid idiot president was saying, "Oh, it was an attack," before anyone even knew anything.
Like Israel, I think it's because Israel also was trying to say something. They were trying to sneak this Lebanon, and they were trying to be like, and you know, we've been telling people that Lebanon has these yada 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 yadas, but y'all didn't listen. I'm like,
but who's listening to Israel about terrorism? They're like they're only second to us in terms of like state terrorism. Shut up, like. Y'all don't have a leg to stand on. Like it's just whack. But like there's like 300,000 people displaced. Like this a pandemic we're having. It's about to be a second. You know, it's about to get stronger as the year comes like to a close and stuff like that. So that's something to be paying attention to.
Yeah, the fact that it's like in comparison to like the explosions in like Japan is wild. In terms of just like the impact and how like big it was, it's kind of crazy. Like when you watch those, like we've had videos obviously kind of Japan, but like the videos that we have like now of like seeing it just go like insanity, like it was crazy.
Man, we really don't need weapons that strong.
Yeah, you don't, and you don't need them all together. Stored on your largest port. Whoever had
like
them
if
there,
if you think of any like any city in Lebanon, like Beirut's the only one anybody can think of, and that's where you store all your stuff. Probably not a good idea. Probably should have been in like the countryside or something. Maybe the desert. Maybe, something like that. Anyway,
Pray for them people. Donate to where the causes. I never donate to the Red Cross because
I don't even
Like the Red
I don't
Cross.
even know what I feel like you at this point you like just have to find like actual
No,
Lebanese
yes,
people
you have to find
and like
displaced
donate
people.
to them because like there's no American like NGO that I trust to
Give yes,
do that.
properly give them money. Yeah,
So, but also, so net neutrality is under attack again. That's
always
fun.
they
Every
can't let
year.
it hear. Yeah,
Every single year, they're like, no, we're gonna kill net neutrality this year. So hopefully,
the internet.
yeah. So if you don't know net neutrality, it's basically about like the fact that like websites, I mean, internet providers have to give like the same amount of like basically like internet to no matter what website like you're
Yeah.
going on or whatever.
There are like in Europe, there have been proposals of like, let's say like WhatsApp, Facebook, and Snapchat. They'll be like, you can use Snapchat will have slower data to like Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp, and that is where like it creates big disparities because obviously like I should be able to use the internet equally no matter what website I go on, and especially if like a company like Facebook, which has like massive amounts of money, can like sway a government to be like, or a company specifically to be like, yo, I'll give you this much, and you tell people, you'll boost their service with me. It
Facts.
like messes up like
Yeah.
net neutrality.
And because we already have like the cable companies and all those things already have like monopolies over like the internet and internet service providers and stuff like that, like it's not one of those like, oh, the free market will work it out, we'll just all go to a different internet provider. That's not like how it works, like for real.
Like
So
if you think about in the US, like we have a few cable like / internet providers. Like every region has their biggest one. It's like Comcast, Time Warner. It's really like 4 of them, maybe.
yeah,
And that's
Comcast,
pretty
Time
much it
Warner,
for, like, the whole
Verizon,
country.
kinda. Yeah.
So when you think about how insane it is that people would want to like monopolize more on that, it's not good.
Yeah, and like I said, net neutrality, that's something that's been coming up since at least like 2009, I feel like.
Since people found out that the internet was like a thing for real. When they realized that the internet was where you could make bucket loads of money, they were like, oh wait,
Yeah,
we can't let this happen.
So if you ever see that coming up, call your representatives, tell them to make sure we maintain net neutrality. Yeah. So in our celebrity bullshit news, these two white ass motherfuckers try to claim that they feel really bad that they had a plantation wedding. I'm referring to Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. They try to claim that they feel so bad they had their little 2016 wedding on a South Carolina plantation. I don't believe you, my nigga, because it was 2016.
No, it was earlier than that, but they got married in like 2013,
2013,
2012, something. Like
whatever. Same difference. It was 2 seconds. It wasn't 1912. To like, let's be clear.
2012.
Close enough. Same sex. Same shit. I'm like, bro, like, we had a whole black president. Y'all were getting married on a plantation. Like, let's not do it. Like, y'all knew. They were both well aware.
They said something about they got like they got married. They had like another wedding at their home. And
I saw that.
I said, what does that do for them?
Y'all literally got married on a plantation because y'all thought it was cute. I'm pretty sure like a couple years ago they were like,
yeah, they were standing by it.
Yeah, they were like acting like they weren't gonna apologize for it. Maybe that was in 2016 when they was acting like they wasn't gonna apologize for it.
And now look at them. And it's funny because Ryan Reynolds is doing that program to get more Black and people of color into Black Indigenous people of color into like the filming and like acting and Hollywood stuff. So it's interesting timing. They're like trying to cover up their bad like track record, but like average crime doesn't forget.
I'm like, bullshit. Like, because like, just even think about the term plantation. You don't even associate that term in like the United States. They don't associate that term with anything but like antebellum shit. Like, when you say plantation, people think of a certain thing, like, and they think of slavery. Like, you're not gonna tell me, like, come on.
It wasn't well thought out. That's all I'm gonna say. But like,
it's bullshit.
Like, it's just, you don't need to keep apologizing for these things because it doesn't feel worthy. Like, you should have apologized when people called you out 4 years ago, not like 3 years later. Which is kind of like the same thing with Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, Zoe Saldana. Yeah, so to be clear, like, we can't even accept Zoe Saldana's apology if we wanted to. Like, Alejandra's definitely light skinned, and I'm like really kind of on the cusp.
Facts.
So, like, it's not all our apology to accept. But if we could, we still would not accept Zoe Saldana's apology for paying Nina Simone. Like, because everybody was telling her from when she was first cast, what are you, like, they were asking her what the fuck, like, because, like, anybody, if you know anything about Nina Simone, like, that's a whole important part about Nina Simone is how she looked, is that she was dark and she had very strong Afro features. Like, what, like, who in, bro, they put a prosthetic nose on Zoe Saldana. Like, you know, your brain meat, you didn't think to your own self, like,
this don't sound right.
Like a good idea. Like,
and also, an article pointed out was the director that made it had only spent like maybe a day with Nina, like maybe, and that inspired him to make a whole movie.
Right. Literally, it's ridiculous. It's like ridiculous. I'm like, Zoe Saldana has done and said too much to even. I don't even know why she even apologized. Like, she's mad anti-black. Like, she's super. I
think it's because she's aware of the fact that, like, now, if she wants to continue to, like, seriously act,
yeah, no,
it's gonna be like she has to, like, do some type of recovery for it.
I'm like,
she's like now or like I can never.
I'm like, bruh, man,
and
for a pretty unambiguously black mixed person, Zoe Saldana, she's quite dumb stupid, I'll say, because like, I don't know.
She kept going for it. This is the issue with that a lot of people have with Afro Latinos, is that they be dumb stupid at the worst times. Like, there was no reason for her. This wasn't like she was like she needed work. It wasn't like she hadn't come off of Avatar.
She was about to go right into Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, it was right before that.
It was just, it didn't make sense. That's why people be hating on Afro Latinos. They're like, you choose when you want to be black. And then when black people have problems with, like, the choices you make, you're like, oh, no, but I'm an Afro-Latina, I'm black, too. And I'm like, but there's, like, variations, your color, what you look like, the person you're playing.
And it's, like, my thing is, like, even, like, I wouldn't play Nina Simone. Like, no, I'm, like, no question, like, just black, regular, like, I wouldn't play Nina Simone, like, because that wouldn't make sense, like...
Like, they cast, what's that homegirl from Orange is the New Black?
Oh.
As a singer, I forgot, Danielle Brooks. Mm-hmm. Like, they cast her as a singer, and guess what? Looks exactly like this gospel singer. Right. Exactly like her. That's all we asked for when you...
Yeah, we're talking about Zoe.
That's like, all we ask for is that you, like... especially for light skin, like Zoe's not very light skinned, but for, like... in this grand scheme of, like, colorism, she's a light-skinned Afro-Latina, to kind of think about the choices you make when you're acting. And it took her this long to think about it. When was that damn movie made?
2014, too, or something like that.
2016?
I knew it was recent. I
didn't know it was that like you, I thought it was 2014, which is not that much of a difference, but...
I knew it was something like that. 2016, like, I'm like, madam, but you knew, like, 2016 is, like, after, like, to be clear, 2016 is after, like, Black Lives Matter and stuff like that, though. Like, to be extra clear about it.
It doesn't, obviously to me, it don't help that she's also married to a white man.
Zoe Saldana has repeatedly, like, before, like, basically before, like, then she had repeatedly denied her blackness, like, over and over again. Like, had full movies where she was like a black person, like an American black person, played an American black person, and would go on and say, "No, I'm not black." Okay, wait, how is Bernie Mac your father in this movie? You're not black.
Please, what was that movie called?
Guess who? Terrible.
Why?
Let's not think about it.
Again,
Terrible.
That movie was bad.
Awful. Ashton Kutcher over here, like, dick riding Ellen like fucking
we forgot to put Ellen on there. I forgot
to put that.
Who knew we'd be calling Ellen that bitch in 2020?
I mean, like, I feel like none of this ever shocks me. Like, not because oh yeah, I'm like not because I knew or something like that. Just because like people are trash. Like rich people especially are mean and rude. They're trash. Like I don't know. Like
A white woman in position of power for close to 20 years.
especially when she was
she was
literally like the spokesperson for lesbians, like all white lesbians. She was like their person. Like not saying they all liked her. I'm saying like that's who people looked to when they thought of white lesbian in their reign. Like so like that's privilege, bro. Like I don't understand how you wouldn't expect her to be kind of like a dick. Like
Those 3 stories this week just got me like, I don't like.
yo.
Like, just...
And I'm like, Kevin Hart has enough problems of his own. I don't know why he goes to, like...
Who else? There were, like, 4 people.
Kevin Hart, I know Ashton
that
Kutcher
tweeted.
said something. Who else?
It was... Every person that works in, like, media was like, this is obviously, like, Ellen's people sent it out to, like, the other publicist people, like, please release a statement saying that you love Ellen. Katy Perry, yeah.
And...
who didn't? Who didn't really? Jay Leno. Jay Leno's was the funniest.
Oh yeah, Jay Leno. Yeah, Jay Leno.
Jay Leno's was the
My
funniest.
thing
'cause he's
is,
like,
like,
I'm not gonna throw away 40 years of friendship.
My thing is like who gives a fuck about Jay Leno? It's not like he even like he's not even on the Tonight Show, as if anybody cares about that either. But like, so what's I'm like all these people nobody gives a fuck about. Nobody's listening to these people. Who gotta come on next? Terry Crews? Like
it's not even the worst part. It's not about her treating celebrities bad. It's about her treating
her
staff.
staff. That's what I'm saying. It's her staff. Like y'all probably all treat your staff like shit too. Those seem like I know Jay Leno treated his staff like shit. Like I'm not even. There's no question in my mind about Jay Leno.
I'm just
for sure.
Ellen, do what you want, but stop these little like celebrity runs of Ellen, she's so nice, you can't destroy her. Ain't nobody saying destroy that woman.
Also,
Please.
I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Also, but Kevin Hart went to look at his like Twitter and looked at his bio, and it still says like it says something like I'm a hard worker or something. Everybody wants to be famous, but nobody wants to work hard. And I'm like, that's cool. That would have been cool back in like 2013 or something. But at this point, you're fucking Kevin Hart. Like that bullshit. Like you're not working hard no more. Fuck off. The last like 7 things you made have been the same thing. Fuck off. You're not working hard no more. They be trying to tell these lies. Whatever.
You're working hard for those bad jokes you're making now.
Yo, I haven't heard a funny Kevin Hart joke in years,
I
bro.
understand it's hard work to be around with your family sometimes. Cool to do blah 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 and work very hard at. Sure, but you make those choices at this point. You're rich enough to be like, I don't have to work anymore if I don't want to.
I'm saying like he's like really rich. Like he got mad money. It's crazy. But Dasha Polenko, I just don't know why she said that. Like she should have just been quiet. Like she tried. I think she tried to say that like she meant that Latinos need to like work for themselves to get what they want. But it really came across as saying like no, like we're.
It just came across as her saying she was being very shady against the black community and that the black community doesn't like deserve their awards. And
my thing is like I don't just like, but the thing is with that helps her. Like that shit helps her too. Like I think it's funny because I'm like, think about like, bro, like are people would anybody ever would like the choice for somebody ever be Salma Hayek or Dasha Polanco? No, never, like never. That's what I mean. Like I'm sorry, Black Latinos, but y'all and white Latinos, y'all don't really like. There's nothing like there's no shared like anything really like cultured, but kinda not really.
The market for a white Latino versus her, like it's not like. It's not there. Like she's auditioning for black roles. Like that's how it is. That's how it's always gonna be.
Yeah.
Like she's an Afro Latina. She's a black woman from the Dominican Republic. That's what it is. So like it's just like how we feel about the Black and Latino caucus sometimes, like having this separation, especially for like Afro Latinos, which are mainly from like the Caribbean and from like some of Central America is very like it makes no sense. Like for like speaking in my behalf, I don't relate to a lot of Central Americans or just like general Latin Americans as much as I do West Indians, as much as I do like the people on my island, so Haitians. Like the relationship I share with the people in my region compared to other Latinos is very different. So this desire to always tie yourself with people because they're also Latinos, I'm like, but you're black first. Like that's what they see when you audition.
Soleil just said, it sounded like she was saying Afro Latino and black people are two different things. And yeah, that's the confusing part. I'm like, that's why I don't like the term Afro Latino because like. Why? Because like I have to use the term because then people don't know what I'm saying. Like they don't know that I'm talking about everybody. But like I just feel like it's like because like I don't know. Like I definitely think like culture is important and like ethnicity isn't like there's ethnicity, there's culture, but like in the grand scheme of things, like I'm like bro, like Marco Rubio is Cuban. So like what's the like? Is there any connection between like?
And he's barely connected to the Afro-Cubans
that's what I'm saying,
where his family's from.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so I just don't think like, I think we're getting to a point where like, yeah, we need to be really thinking about like, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna jump to the fact that. The heart of Black Lives Matter.
That's the heart, one of the like basically the Mecca. Like, if you don't know, like Missouri, St. Louis, after the death of Mike Brown, and a lot of other deaths within the state, they kind of popped off. They were, if you don't remember, like some of the like Time magazine from like those years, like 2016, 2015, were all about like St. Louis, and like this is an organizer, a leader from there that just won and beat like a
20-year legacy incumbent. Like he'd been in there for 20 years, and his dad had been in there like 20 years before, for 20 years before him. And me and political dynasty, not my thing.
I saw a tweet today that said they're in the mood to destroy political dynasties, and I said,
yeah, facts. Not my thing. So I just I'm just happy to see it. Always. I just think always having fresh faces is important, especially after 20 years. It's like even if you're like the greatest representative, senator, whatever the fuck, like it's too long. 20 years is too long. It's just too long of a time. Yeah. You literally you can't. You just can't at that point. But whatever. Also, national news. Rashida Tlaib decisively won the primary in Michigan. Like. It was fun because like Did
you go on Twitter and watch them reactions? Because they were funny.
Yes, because I was dying because there was this like centrist Democrat, I think it was a black lady who was like, yeah, she's like, black district, John Conyers former district, I'm gonna win, whatever. I could totally beat her. They're gonna be a little, and then all the other centrist Democrats like, she's too radical. She's gonna be a one-term. Representative. Then what? Like she got like 60 something.
She like overwhelmingly won.
It was like 60%. I took a screenshot, I think, just so I could tell you the exact percentage. The last time I looked,
66 to Jones's 34%, with 90% of the thing reporting whatever this article came out.
Like that is a decisive victory.
Yeah, no, but like I don't think people know this, but specifically her, she's gotten pretty much the least amount of like good publicity from being a part of the like big four, like Ayanna Pressley, AOC,
Ilhan
Omar all get like a lot more attention than she does, and she's been very like she don't give a
fuck. Like she came in there calling Donald Trump a motherfucker. Everybody got mad. She booed Hillary Clinton. That was my favorite shit, bro. Rashida Tlaib.
Sometimes she might be my favorite of the four because she really about it.
Rashida Tlaib does not give a fuck. Like it's fun,
and that pissed a lot of people off, especially from Michigan. Like it pissed a lot of people off that she really, like, even before she got elected, she was not with the shit. She was like, I'm gonna do what I want. I'm gonna scream at people how I want, and y'all gonna get over
And
it.
and that's what people were saying too. Like they were like, "Oh yeah, like it's a black district, da 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 da," which is funny to me because it always makes me think about season 4 of The Wire, where one of the characters was like, "Black people are used to voting for like white people, like it's not like weird for them to vote for like a white person." But like Rashid Tlaib is different, whatever. But like it's just funny to me because like I feel like the people who care the most about identity politics are the ones always bitching about identity politics. Like niggas is not voting just off the strength of what somebody looks like, bro. Like we actually kind of care, like what they do, what they say. Like I don't know, shocking. Voters might care, some of them sometimes. I don't know. Like
It's still funny that they lost so hard. Like voting, like losing 66% is
because they was acting real.
Like people online were like, "Oh, those are early numbers. Just wait. She's not gonna win by that much. That's not gonna happen." Numbers come in silent.
They were acting real uppity. Like they was. I mean, I'm confused. Like she's now an incumbent. Like y'all know it's like.
And I just want you to know
popular too.
that her and AOC both won their primaries like nothing, and they were both facing against people that like had tons of money. Like people have been pouring in money to get Rashida and AOC out of office since like the moment they won. So for them to both win their primaries, like nothing in the middle of the pandemic, is wild.
Like they're really the most popular politicians, especially with their like AOC is the most popular politician in the United States in general, but like especially among their constituents because they actually do some shit. Like, bro, it's crazy.
It's wild.
But
yo, if you go to Rhode Island, or you from Rhode Island, you probably want to quarantine.
On to closer local news. Rhode Islanders are not allowed to just travel free and fun and clear anymore to like New Jersey, New York, Massachusetts, and a bunch of Connecticut, some other close places.
Trapped in Rhode Island.
They can travel there, but you have to like quarantine for real, and that's different because in most of these states, like if you're coming from Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, you don't have to quarantine.
Yeah. And it's
you're
because
going to one of those
their
states.
spike was insane in the past couple weeks. It was like they do the numbers by like 100,000, like the percentage bases, and it was like crazy, like wild. So it led them to start the thing. So crazy. Y'all just be careful of this virus. Like people are acting like you don't have to be scared of it anymore, and I'm like. Just because we bored and it's August and it's been like 8,000 months, not having that long, but it feels like it. Just because it's been that long, don't mean it's gone.
Like they're like, no, but it's inconveniencing me, so I don't want it.
It's not like a semester in college where you can just be like, well,
I'm gonna drop out of COVID for now. I might come back later on. Might pick it back. I'm gonna just take a gap year.
I'm gonna take a gap second. I'll be back
for COVID. But anyway, speaking of COVID, so Massachusetts isn't.
It has a formal.
They're not technically like tracking coronavirus outbreaks in like schools and like not after school, summer schools and stuff, which is
stupid.
I mean,
because we spent all of these months saying, "Oh, kids can't get it." Or
bullshit.
Kids can't get it as much,
bullshit.
Or that kids can't die as much.
Bullshit.
And now we won't really know what those numbers are because you aren't planning on doing a formal reporting process.
My thing is like they said like we try to find out about it. Like we try to be on top of it. How are you trying to be on top of it if you don't have a formal report? You're clearly not trying to be on top of it. Like if you were trying to be on top of it, there would be a way for people to report to you that their people at their school have coronavirus. Like
I want to go back to BLA for a moment just so I can go speak to a few of my science teachers and be like, I feel offended in that you told me that I had to stick to the same, like recording process and the same, processes for doing experiments. And suddenly when a pandemic comes,
they are willy-nilly.
Everybody changing up everything. Even when we're doing okay, everybody's like, what we're going to start doing? Not recording results.
I just think like it's really hard to me, like hard for me to like reconcile the fact that they clearly don't give a fuck if your kids die. Because I mean that's what they're telling me. Like by the amount of like preparation, the way they're talking about, they're real casual about all these things. Like they be like, oh well, I think maybe like 12,000 people gonna die this month, but it's no biggie.
It's just a couple thousand.
I mean,
people.
maybe I don't know 3,000 kids. I don't know, but
No, but it doesn't appear as though it's only the eighth month of the year and 120,000+ Americans have died. No, it's okay.
yes, it's like 140 now, I think.
It's okay. But okay, yeah, like Saleha said, the reopening of Georgia schools was a mess. So we have examples of schools like pretty much opening and having to close. I forget which state it was, but there was a state where like they opened school and they basically just had to close it.
Like immediately. Yeah, I remember that too. I don't know.
And
what
I'm just
state it was
like,
either.
y'all don't care. And like Saleha said, they don't care if your kids bring it home to you and they kill you.
Yeah, it has. So the state has no formal reporting process for tracking coronavirus outbreaks that have been in summer school programs, and like they're not being clear about like the outbreaks that we know for a damn fact are gonna happen when school starts up again. So that's fun. And like on a similar vein, Boston Public Schools is they're letting schools like decide like how they're gonna do like their model, like what how they're gonna do, whether they're gonna do it like all at home learning or like a hybrid model or something like that. And I'm like, that's all cool and all of that, but these like first couple of weeks or months, nobody should be going to school. I don't care what school. I don't care if it's like half capacity. Nobody should be going to school. We're in a pandemic. Like, what? Like, I'm confused by people's confusion. Your confusion confuses me. Like,
I completely understand you don't want kids with like learning disabilities and other issues to regress. I understand. But for the mass general population that don't have these issues, what purpose does it serve to send these kids back to school?
But what
besides just having them in school, to have them in school so their parents can go to work? But
what about if they get COVID and die? How about that? That's my main question. Like, I'm just like, I feel like this is just so Boston. Like, whenever if ever a school would have asked to do something their own way in any other circumstance, hell no, hell to the no, hell never, ever, ever. And now during a pandemic, when everybody should be on like the same page about like not being anywhere near other people, they're like, well, I mean, schools can decide. Like, principal, they know what's up. Teachers, they know. It's just like ridiculous. Yeah, I think also that's a lot of pressure on teachers having like teaching students half in school and half on Zoom. Like, how? Like, how are you gonna do that? Like,
Mr. McGuire made a post. Mr. McGuire is a teacher from Boston Latin Academy where we went to school. He made a post and he was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Well, he was interviewed also.
Yeah.
But he's like, I don't know how I would be able to like focus on teaching kids virtually and teaching kids in person. It doesn't make sense. And we're like, this is one of the times when we're asking people to do too much. We're asking both the students to do too much because we were just students like 2 minutes ago and we still are students in life. But like,
students of the world.
Like, I can't even fathom going back to school. Like, sitting at a desk next to somebody that could potentially give me a disease.
So you know I got that 99-cent 6-month Gold subscription. So I was living my best life, looking, researching things for the show today, reading like everybody's letters to the editor. There were like 3 letters.
Letters?
That's what they should call it.
That's what we're gonna call them,
bro.
We're gonna have a section on our blog called Letters.
Letters. Anyway, so there are a few letters. Like there was one from a pediatrician saying like, we literally don't know like what the after effects of this virus are on young people. So like it's really wild. This is my, this is me,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm paraphrasing what they said. It's really wild that we're trying to send kids back to school when we don't know, like, and we're trying to put teachers in danger as well. That's what they said. And I said, yeah, that's right. And then there was another one from a psychiatrist who was like, we are not even thinking about how this will affect kids, like mental health and development, and the fact that teenagers have they're like, you're not good at what's it called, risk assessment, and like understanding that like consequences are like real. So like,
and people can die.
and
Yes.
people can die, your friends, your family, you, and yeah, we're basically like sending kids to the slaughter in that way. I mean,
So Ken had his own watch party where a bunch of people commenting. I was like, why are the people having a party today? And Michael said it's starting to look like the plan is just to really infect and kill as many people.
that's what I'm saying. It seems like the plan is to cull the pores because I don't know what other goal from the steps they're taking. What other end goal could there be? Like, because everything you're doing just tells me that more people are gonna die before this is anywhere near contained. Like, and the other thing that's really bothering me is that a lot of motherfuckers are really fucking comfortable with that. They're like, hell yeah. They're like, oh yeah, I mean, look, I gotta go back to work at my shitty job that I hate, that I told you yesterday that I hated, but I gotta go back because I don't want to be happy or healthy, or like, I'm not saying it's like easy or whatever, but I'm like, if the two options are die in a pandemic or like start a revolution so maybe you won't die in a pandemic, I don't know, this one seemed a little better. Like, I don't know, the revolution, I don't know,
Or a general strike.
just like it's
Just
really gotta be
there are
crazy.
steps
Like,
that you don't have to go all the way to revolution. Revolution fun, at least me. Revolution the fun way. Do a strike, a general strike of the people. Hasn't really been done in like a very long time.
if
Go
ever in
ahead,
America.
if ever fracks. Not here because we are very anti-union. But
That's why a young ass country. Think about how young this country is. Young is stupid.
well, just like teenagers, young is stupid.
Yeah, we're not good at the like consequences. That's why we dropped an atomic bomb on people. Like, we're not good at recognizing that there will be consequences to actions.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's the worst part about this is poor people really don't have an option. The
Like-
option is like Celia said, either like you send your kid to school and risk them getting sick or making you sick, or you struggle and stay home. And by struggle, it's really
You lose your
effectively
home, like,
go homeless or worse. Like, and what's worse, like,
bruh, like I like, what are they, like, seriously, like they're at some point we have to be like, this is just too much. It's enough. Like, we can't allow this.
I can't fathom having to make the choice that the only reason you're sending back your kid is because you have to go to school. Like, you have to go to work. Like,
yeah,
the
it's hard,
only
man.
reason, not because you care really that they're learning or any like that, but you have to send them so that, like, because you also know that for a lot of Black and Latinos, if you would, like, let's say leave your kid at home and you just leave them at home to, like 90s, like not 90s, the way everybody grew up,
Bro,
where you were just at home.
Me and my mom were just talking about latchkey kids, but like, yeah, like, then
then
you got
DCF would-
CPS coming to take your kid away, like, and it sounds like I'm exaggerating, being facetious, but that's kind of dead ass. Like, we got that homegirl still in juvie for not doing her homework.
Oh, she got out. They got her out.
They just got her out.
They got her out like last week or something, like
Thank
late last week.
goodness.
Or early
Because
this
last
week.
time I looked, she was still in there. I said, "Excuse me, God, that's craziness." Like, that's what happens to Black children. Like,
So just the thought of it is just, it's all bad. More importantly about the schools having to choose the model that they'll be following is that in, like, I don't want to put that decision on the principals or the teachers of each individual school. Like, the point of having a superintendent is for the superintendent to listen to what others say and to formulate a.
I'm like, homegirl just said, alley-oop pass, deflect, pass it over. Like, I mean, like, I'm like, for a motherfucker who's appointed to her position, you sure not doing shit? Like, you sure you chilling for somebody who wasn't even voted in? Like, so there's no election process for you. You just comfortable, just got a job. Didn't even, in the way she got the job in the first place, still was not a great process, not very transparent.
Mm-mm.
And I'm like, come on, man, this is bullshit. Like this is, there needs to be, y'all better not be voting for Marty Walsh next year. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, that's the end of, that's like the meat of it. Just like, if y'all voted for Marty Walsh in this city of Boston, something's wrong with you. I don't know what, something.
Like,
I
just, the principles and the guilt I would feel if I chose to have a more like school-based model as a principal and some of my teachers die. And
the guilt that people would place upon you if you did that. Like, come on, like all these schools, like, that's all that's gonna happen is it's gonna turn into, oh, did not see, look, they're trying to kill our kids because da da da, and then it's gonna be just like it always is. Like the people who are, you know, who should be joining together and fighting a common enemy are gonna be fighting each other. Like, I'm like
when they're pitting the teachers unions against the parents, I'm like, the teachers want to stay alive and the parents want their kids to get educated in a safe way. There isn't a fight. Those are not,
like, bro, like, those, the one doesn't cancel out the other. Like,
Eric said, everybody take a shot. She mentioned Marty Walsh.
Yo, that's really the game. How long does it take me in a given episode to say fuck Marty Walsh?
Soleil said these principals are not scientists or doctors. So I'm confused as why they would be giving the.
That's what I'm saying. We really giving everybody but the people who know what the fuck is going on the decision making process.
Marty got a Department of Health to be like, what's the best way?
No, I mean, we can hire some military contractors. How about that? Will that fix it? Like, like, bruh, like, gosh, like, I just don't even know, man. It's really we're gonna see. We're gonna see come September, and I don't really want to see, to be honest. I'd rather we not see because I don't think it's gonna end well, and it's really gonna harm people from my community and people who look like me.
Just wait, because we're regressing so negatively with the terms of like people testing positively again. That chances are we're not opening school. We're doing all this talk about it for the likelihood of us being able to really open is decreasing since people can't listen to the fact that we have to kind of,
I mean, like you know,
maintain social distancing, which is my least favorite word now on earth.
Social distancing.
It's the worst phrase I think ever.
Because it's like, yeah, I feel like there should have been I wish there was a stronger term. I wish there was a term
that put fear into your heart.
Like,
I want some Republican fear mongering words. I want something to be like death distancing.
I mean, that's the only thing conservatives can understand is fear.
Yes.
That's the only thing that motivates them.
If you tell somebody death distancing, if you don't distance yourself, you die. I'm just gonna say that. So it's the social distancing. You need to death distance.
Death distance. Oh gosh.
Let's see if I remember that for next week.
Yo.
Oh, talking about
BPS still
horrible.
The McCormick it's eventually supposed to become a 7 through 12 school or whatever, and that school, you know, that's been a plan for at least I think like a year or two or something like that. And so at some point they had a meeting talking about like it was a question of like there's some green space near the McCormick and they're like, you know, we want to build a boys and girls club here. And, you know, the people of the community were like, we need this green space. And then teachers, you know, from the McCormick, like, we use this space every day. It's between, you know, 40 degrees and 100 degrees. We're outside in this space. Like, and then everybody else is like, you know, it's going to be a 7 through 12 school. So People might need space for athletics or whatever, like why don't we just wait to see like what the school's gonna need before we start selling city land to private things. And so that's all they say, like, yeah, we feel you. Come last week, they released proposals for building that fucking community center after everybody said no. Wow, oh, who knew that if you go to meetings and tell them fuck no, they'll still do it anyway? Like, oh, shocking. Are we shocked? Like, and so that's the story of fucking Boston electoral politics.
Yo, my fave, Rob Consalvo, is a part. I forget he's the BPS senior advisor. If you don't know him, he's running for the representative in my area. I don't know what number it is, but he was the representative at some point, and then he lost, and then he's running again, and he lost, more importantly, in March to my slate that I was on. And this man works for BPS and is very not the person that deserves to be in BPS or in office. And this man is part of the reason why it's happening. He basically said if the community can't come to an agreement, and this was May 9th, 2018, it's 2 years in the making, this process, then on what the use should be, then it stays just as it is. So when you speak up and you say, oh, we don't like this, the reaction from BPS was basically, well, if you can't come to an agreement on how you don't like it, then we'll just do it still.
Like, my thing is, like, it's funny because, like, the unifying thought was that it shouldn't be a community center. Whatever it is, it should not be like the Boys and Girls Club or whatever that they were proposing. And they said, oh, bet. So y'all can't agree whether it should be school land or just free park land. So we're going to make it a thing that everybody agrees it shouldn't be. Like, I'm like, okay, like, Boston, man, people are real comfortable. They're real comfortable. And they're like, okay, no one's ever going to do anything. No one's ever going to stop me. We hate to see it.
These people pitched it and said this was like, and they said the community wanted it. The community then said no, and they said, we'll still do it. So when, like, 2 weeks ago or last week, when people were complaining about how the community wasn't engaged, how the community doesn't care, this is what happens sometimes. It's not always. Sometimes the community's input is heard, but a lot of the time, the community speaks up. In this case, students were also speaking up. Young people, the people that you want to keep engaged, they were speaking up and saying, we don't want this. And what happens? They don't listen. They basically said, oh, it don't matter.
Well, we want it, so that's what they said. They said, well, we want it, so fuck you guys. How about that? The next thing I have is, hello. The next thing I had is Ricardo Arroyo. He filed for the police overtime slips. Yeah. And he filed me and Ricardo Arroyo were one, clearly. Anyway, I'm sorry that something funny just happened. I'm joking now.
Okay. Ricardo Arroyo filed for getting information about police court overtime slips. So basically, this is what happens. They have police officers show up for certain court hearings that they don't have to show up for, and they also have police officers walk documents over. So if you know the Roxbury area, B2 is right there. The court is like a 5-minute walk up the street.
Skip.
And so there are reports of like police officers getting hella overtime, dropping off documents to the court or going to court meetings they don't have to go to.
And aren't they only supposed to get like 4 hours, however long? I don't know how long it is, but they're only supposed to get like 4 hours per whatever.
Yeah,
for that shit.
And like when you look through the overtime books for police officers, it's wild because
that's where they make all their money.
Like so many rules getting broken that unless you have city councilors going like, what is this? explain this whole line item to me. You don't hear about it.
I mean, didn't that just happen with the Stadies like 3 years
Yes.
ago? The way they were
Their
going
overtime
crazy with
scam?
overtime. Like all those police departments do it. That's why even if you have a good police department, it's not good because it's all like that's intrinsic in the system. Like this is how they do. Like for real. And that's the only way to say it. Like I don't know. Like
Getting paid to walk over a court document just make me like sick. Like we talk about money and how we don't have money to do stuff, but we have money to have police officers walk documents.
Yeah,
walk.
we
Probably getting in their damn cruiser, putting on the light on,
Fact.
telling people to move, parking in that dang
sitting there. They say, it was very pleasant. I was hanging around in the parking lot. Like I'm like, like we act like we don't have money. We do have the money. It's just not allocated in a way that makes sense. Like we just speaking of money not being allocated in a way that makes sense, that valedictorian shit.
Oh.
So recently, maybe like last year, the year before, there was an article, I think it was in the Globe, about how a lot of the Boston Public School valedictorians between the years of 2000 and 2000 just all their lives are shitty or whatever. And that's not what it said, but they're not like
It
not
kinda
the
did say
expected.
that. Yeah.
They're not like reaching the expected you would expect whatever it said, whatever. So recently another thing, like I guess a organization.
It's this rich man, I think, that wants to form an organization, but yeah,
they're trying. He's trying to support former valedictorians and like going back to school and stuff like that, and like doing that, and that sounds cool and all that. But like, this is Boston, where there's literally like, for any given thing that you're trying to do, there's already probably 7 fucking nonprofit organizations doing that same shit. And we don't need, like, bro, like, this shit. That's why people can't access the stuff they need. Because everything's all, like, everybody want to be doing something, like, just them. Like, and they only wanted to say their name. Like,
there are, so if you guys didn't know, we started earlier, well, on August 1st, when it's you're killing me with that. To consult nonprofit organizations, mainly about youth work, but about other issues revolving the city. And a large reason that we did this was because we noticed that there are a lot of nonprofits in the city that do the same thing effectively, but the community is not really being served. And what this has to do with kind of this is that we're adding more nonprofits to a field that's already very saturated, but is not being helpful. So there's a lot of money being put into nonprofits across the city, and nonprofits don't pay property taxes. Important to note that. There's a lot of nonprofits in the city that don't pay taxes.
Yeah, rich people shouldn't start nonprofits. That's unethical. If you're a rich person who starts a nonprofit, that means to me you want some tax breaks, and that's all. Like, if it wasn't about that, you would just give people money. But we're not gonna go there. Also, my thing is that, like, so as bad as the valedictorians are doing, what about literally everybody else? Like, all the other BPS students are probably doing far worse. Like,
the Globe tracked down 93 of the 111 Boston Public School valedictorians from 2005 to 2007. 40% make less than $50,000.
That's only 2 years.
Yeah, I don't know why they picked that chunk, but 1 in 4 failed to get a bachelor's degree in 6 years. Not one became a doctor, and 4 of the former students have been homeless.
Okay, like, yes, that's terrible. So again, so the prospects are far worse for everybody else. Okay, so make total sense to me. Like, I'm like,
think about this. Those were the smartest people, and 40% of them aren't making over $50,000.
And they're living they're from Boston, probably living in Boston. Disrespect. They're dying, clearly.
I don't know what purpose this serves. These people were failed long ago. Like, the purpose of this specific organization, Ready for This, guys, is to basically help them through college. That's what it is. Even though we have other programs like what's the thing called? Not College Bound. Is it College Bound? What's the thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
They're like
they're old.
10,000
I
of
mean,
them.
they're older now, but there are also things for that too, like to help like people who have been like disconnected from college for like 10, 12 years. Like,
They all exist. That's the issue, the core issue. These all exist, and you're oversaturating this market with more like upward bound.
yeah, upward. Yeah, I was,
Trying to
bro.
think. I was like upward
I
bound.
kept thinking
bottom, I was
access,
thinking
bottom line, bottom line. Yeah, bottom line. I'm surprised the kid didn't say
There
bottom
you go.
line.
Celine got the
You
ball.
inspire, yo, access. That's what it used to. That's what
Yes.
access used to be. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. We were literally just talking about that like 2 weeks ago because we were talking about how our own high schools failed us. Our own high school, But anyway,
It's just ridiculous. Like, this is money that could be like, you want allocate it to organizations that already do this. A lot of these organizations are already like bottom line. They struggle to like fully be staffed and like staffed to
You
a degree
aspire-
where like it's full for helping the people that it needs to help. Like, there are organizations in place that with just more money can do it.
I think
Not
like,
starting a new one.
I think people are really like really proprietary about stuff that shouldn't be that way. Like if you're trying to help people with access, then you yourself should be accessible. Like, I don't get that. Like so that's
It's
all
just,
she wrote.
it's wild. Like, they just want to keep doing this. Like, they do it all the time. At this point, it's almost like they're playing with us. Like, especially if you're aware of it, because for some people you don't notice that this happens. That there are like 30. I was trying to make a list of how many youth serving nonprofits there were, and I stopped counting at 30. And while they might do different things, a lot of them have the same core
They really don't do different things.
model.
Like,
the different thing will be like, oh, we do music, and they don't really be doing music.
like they like
So, Leia, we should do an episode on how guidance counselors messed up our lives.
bruh, Nakira gotta be on that episode.
Here gotta be, I still gotta do that. All four of us can
Well,
be on. So, Leia, you can even join us, because I feel like everybody that graduated in our class somehow got majorly
We
screwed
all
over.
got fucked by those guidance counselors. Class of 2015 at BLA. And to be fair, that was a year that we didn't go to school all January and
Yeah.
most of February. So, I guess an excuse?
I
Question
guess,
mark.
but-
But yeah, no, it shit is. That's Boston. It's Boston energy. Like, the lack of cooperation is so fucking Boston.
it's amazing.
Also, question: what about the valedictorians from literally 3 years ago, 4 years ago? Like,
The ones that could be getting help right now.
yeah, those ones. Those are the exact ones I meant. In fact, you thinking that's what I'm thinking. Those were the ones I meant. The ones who could literally. That's what I was gonna say. Even that they could be literally getting help right now. Like, the ones who are currently probably homeless or struggling. Like, to one of the things I like to say to remind everybody is that Boston's youth homelessness is it's high.
It's high, yes.
It's a lot of people. A lot of people couch surf. A lot of people, a lot of people are just homeless. Like, so.
And they're worried about valedictorians from 2005 and 7. And not that they shouldn't be worried about, because obviously they need help too, but they should have gotten their help.
Bruh,
Like, the main article here, I should have posted. I meant to post the link, but my computer died.
I'll post it.
I meant the other link too, like the old article.
Oh yeah.
But this guy in
and
this most recent article, he was the valedictorian and got a full ride to like BU or BC. BU, and then he had to get a job because his girlfriend was pregnant and his kid was on the way. And because he got a job, he lost his scholarship. And I was like,
this one,
this man's life was all turned around just because he had to get a job. Like, these aren't, like, his story especially is one of those of like, it's so like that's not even extreme. Like, nobody could have helped him then.
Bruh,
A school couldn't have said, "Oh, sorry about that." Like,
I mean, like if BU's already given him a full ride, like clearly there was a
reason why he got it. Yeah.
This is like that. I don't know why this reminded me of this tweet I saw earlier. That somebody said they saw a job that was asking for 15 years of social media experience.
Oh wait, can you see that? You're thinking facts.
Yes, definitely. Rosie's
Facts.
Place. That's a
15
place
years of
people should
internet
support.
experience.
Yeah, they said 15 years of social media experience. What social media? Which one? Napster? Which one? Like AIM?
Black Planet.
They said AIM, yes. No, you like as long as you were using a social media back in 2005.
Nakira said, "Oh, you mean jobs on Indeed?"
Yo, literally, like, who? How? Sway? Which social media has been around for 15 years? Which one?
And those barriers are wild, especially like within the city. Our brains are kicking in, the juices are flowing. Like Soleil said, Rosie's Place, go support it. You witness a lot of like homelessness and just seeing like what our city like needs in terms of resources and stuff. But then you talk about like the outward resources of like, there are a lot of us within the city that are Black and Latinos that can't get jobs in our city because we don't have college degrees, or we don't have the degrees that they like, or we don't have the experience that they deem worthy.
Or they're just asking for too much. Like people, like you can't be asking. They'd be like, oh, it's gonna pay 40,000, but you need an MBA, and you also need to be a social media manager, and maybe also you could have skills in graphic design, and maybe you could also have skill, but you don't need these, even though we're not gonna hire you if you don't have it. So, but you don't need it though. Like. Nobody has these skills. Like, nobody, like, bruh, if I had a fucking MBA, I'm not going for this dumbass job. Fuck off. Like,
I remember when I got my job, the person that helped me get it was like, yeah, they don't tend to like young people, and they like people to have a ton of experience, and they like people to do this, this, and this. And I was like, how are you getting people to this job then? Because, like, it pays well, but, like, how are you getting people to this job if you want them to have all these barriers? How are you expecting Latinos and Black people to get this job if you have all these barriers to the job? You're making it hard for yourself.
That's the thing that I think that's something. Oh, we're giving out hood consultant information. We shouldn't be, but I'm gonna say it anyway. That's the thing that's important for people to recognize if you're actually trying to diversify your like workplace, your workforce. Is that not because Black people are less qualified, but sometimes the qualifications you have are dumb. You don't need them. So like you actually have to think in your brain like deeply and say, does this job actually require a college degree, or do I just dislike people who don't have a college degree? Like you have to think deeply and ask yourself that. Or does this job really require 6 years of experience, or am I just going to train them in the way that I want it done at my specific job, organization or business, and then everything they did 6 years ago is not going to mean shit because I'm going to train them in the way I want them to do it? Bruh, like these are questions you have to ask yourself as a hiring person, as a whatever, like, because you're never gonna get Black people. And then do you have a culture that
we can succeed,
that supports Black people, that supports Latinos, that supports whoever? Like, probably not, to be honest. So, they the qualifications are racist. Like, there are certain things where it's just like, I literally cannot have this. Like anything that requires, for instance, an unpaid internship. Anything that requires that, can't have it, can't do it. Just literally cannot.
Sorry.
Because I can't. I need a job that pays money.
The MBTA sadly is not free.
Like,
food sadly is not free.
And I'm like, you got like another tweet I saw today.
The professional clothing you want me to wear is not free. There are free places you can kind of go, but for it to look good, for you to look the way certain jobs.
And then if you have H-cup breasts, there might be a slight gap in your button down, and then you're a whore. who's fucking everyone. But anyway,
Real
you know.
life experience.
Um,
Trigger warning to myself and Malaysia. Because we experienced it.
but yeah, that's I guess that's the end. That was the last topic we had was about the valedictorians. But sometimes I just be thinking how all these things connect.
So majorly, like we just had discussions about schools and like this hybrid model and this hybrid weird shit. And then you're thinking about these valedictorians from 2015, from 15 years ago. And you're just like, wow, the disconnect. Like, we're having whole articles about people 15 years ago. Where are the valedictorians that graduated this year? What's happening to them? Where are the valedictorians from 2 years ago? What's happening to the valedictorians that will develop for this year? Like, there's just so many, like, gaps.
I forgot to even think about college. Like, I forgot to think about, like, because when I read that article today about, like, schools going back, somebody said something about how, like, you know, everybody in BPS takes the MBTA, and a lot of college students take the MBTA also. That's gonna make it worse. That's gonna be, like, bad. Because if, like, schools are, like, colleges are really opening, then people are gonna be flocking from all over the country. Who knows, like, where they're
those
coming
numbers are
from.
crazy. It's like 70% of, like, BU students or something like that are from out of state. What states you coming from? Because I know you're probably not coming from the good states that are gonna bring me that not corona. You gonna bring me the corona. That's what's gonna happen. And then the kid's gonna catch you sitting next to you on the bus.
And yeah, that I think that's one of the main things that I don't know how they're gonna figure that. Like the I don't get how they're gonna get kids to school in a safe way. I think maybe the main thing that I'm not getting how they're gonna do, unless they're really gonna give everybody buses. They're not gonna do that. Like, also washing everything, disinfecting things. What about lunch? What about, like, these are the same questions I was asking last week, but they're like still, you know,
we still don't know.
Like, what's it gets closer every day. The time continues to pass and we still get no answers. So, but
that's all we got. Nakira said you can't be a graphic designer, social media manager, animator, and web designer. And
for free? Yo, like, they'll be like, no, you'll be an intern for 6 months and you'll do literally everything, but we won't say you did it and you won't get paid.
I was on Lipstick Alley and somebody posted a job posting for a celebrity's assistant.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
That shit was wild. It was like, you have to be able to like drive me around. You have to be able to post on my social media. You have to be able to. Yeah, was it for like
$30,000 a year or something?
It was for pennies. I
said, excuse you.
I said
no. Like, I'm like,
no.
And this is what job, like, a lot of those jobs will really ask for, like, all these things, like,
for every possible skill on earth.
Like, no, thank you. Is that in the job? No. What kind of job description is this?
We must change the structures that be. We must all universally strike and say, y'all can't treat us like this. Like, he's kind of wilding.
It's a lot. Like, it's a whole lot.
Yeah, asking for us to, like, know basically a whole encyclopedia of information and want to pay us for, like, the price of, like, a quarter of an encyclopedia.
Police are killing us.
I feel like that's an old person joke because nobody buys encyclopedias no more.
Yeah. They will. You know what they'll buy? Negrology. They will. Shameless plug.
But anywho, that's all we got. If you haven't checked out Hood Consultants, go like Hood Consultant. Check out the Facebook page, the Instagram page. Go check out the website, hoodconsultant.com. Subscribe to our email list. We'll start sending out an email this week or next week, depending on when we fully read our thoughts out. We also have an ebook. I like to just call it a book. It's about the 10 things that you can do. What is it? It's 10
You know, basically,
so many
10 things youth serving nonprofits can do
to be anti-racist.
Anti-racist shits. Anyway, that's it. Have a good Wednesday.
We'll be back.
See y'all next week. Like Obvious Nonsense. Share this video.
Share it, like it. Yeah. Leave your feedback about how. Excuse me, that one was loud. Like,
everything is loud. Like,
leave your feedback. We want to continue growing our page and like growing our community within the comments. I love having people comment.
And if your feedback
and stuff.
is you should post more. We know. And we're gonna do it. We know.
Good night.
Good night.
Adios. It's hot.